Hi, I'm Cameron. I'm drinking a Ethiopian light roast that I personally roasted, and today we're going to be talking about A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. In a culture saturated with the artistic styles of Wes Anderson, the horrific adrenaline-rushing techniques of Ari Aster, and the heart-wrenching storytelling of Noah Baumbach, it's easy to forget the films that just make us feel good. Feel-good films are generally ignored by film critics due to being excessively sentimental and lacking any real merit. But, in all honesty, considering that a feel-good film is any film that leaves the audience hopeful, refreshed, and heartwarmed, this is anything but the truth. Today, we're going to take a look at a feel-good film that is possibly one of the most thought-out, artistic, and impactful films you'll ever see. A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Obviously, spoilers ahead.
It's called a picture board because behind each one of these little doors is a picture of people.
A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood was directed by Mariel Heller and was inspired by the article Can You Say Hero, written by Tom Junod in 1998. In the article, Tom described his old rabbit, his relationship with Mr. Rogers, and how Mr. Rogers impacted his life. This is where the character Lloyd Vogel comes from. Lloyd Vogel is the sole reason that this film isn't like every other feel-good film. The main character of this feel-good movie is not a feel-good character, at least not at first. When the film starts, we're introduced to Lloyd by Mr. Rogers himself.
He always says, speedy delivery, doesn't he? I'd like you to meet a new friend of mine. His name is Lloyd Vogel. Someone has hurt my friend Lloyd, and not just on his face. He is having a hard time forgiving the person who hurt him. It's strange, but sometimes it's hardest of all to forgive someone we love.
From here, we go on to begin to meet Lloyd as an audience. We get to meet a resentful, cynical, and narcissistic man. A man who has been through more than most people ever will be. A man whose mother died of cancer before he ever became a man. A man whose father left him and his sister at his mother's deathbed to go sleep with other women. A man who is nothing but human. Humanity. When writing, a writer should create living people. People, not characters. A character is a caricature. Ernest Hemingway. The focus on the humanity of the characters in this film is what truly makes it stand out. It's about real people in a fictional world. This film doesn't try to create fantastical characters and story points. It focuses on the humanity of each individual character and the relationships they have with each other. For Lloyd, the biggest relationship this film explores is that with his father. Lloyd never forgave his father for what he did, and because of this, he's unable to accept the father his man has become. This causes conflict and growth throughout the film, and it can be broken down into 3 specific breaking points: the wedding, the heart attack, and the silence. Early in the film, we find out that Lloyd's sister is having a wedding for the 3rd time. This is in itself an early sign of the struggles this family has with breaking the cycles of the past. But for Lloyd, this wedding presents a new issue. His father will be there. Lloyd hasn't seen his father since before his mother died, and he hasn't wanted to see him either. But due to his wife forcing him to go, Lloyd begrudgingly attends the aforementioned wedding. At the wedding, Jerry, Lloyd's father, takes the stage, somewhat mirroring how Lloyd took the stage in his introductory scene. This agitates Lloyd. His father, having the audacity to take the show at the wedding of his daughter, who he hasn't seen in years, leads us to the first breaking point. Jerry calls Andrea, Lloyd's wife, a doll, and when Jerry mentions Lloyd's mother's name, it all goes downhill. Lloyd hits his father, and the father the same to Lloyd, once again mirroring each other's actions. This symbolically shows the generational pass-down of the torch of aggression and narcissism, both ignoring how their individual actions affect those who surround them. But one difference between Jerry and Lloyd is that Jerry wants to fix this past, while Lloyd doesn't. And this leads us to breaking point 2, the heart attack. In the scenes that follow, we become more acquainted with Mr. Rogers. But as much as this film's title may lead you to believe, he's not the main character. The protagonist is still very much so Lloyd Vogel. Subsequently, we are given a scene where Jerry waits outside of Lloyd's apartment in an attempt to make amends. But this doesn't work, and he's shut out by Lloyd. Lloyd refuses to let go of the past and become the man he wants to be, but at the same time, he's not entirely at fault. While yes, Jerry is seemingly trying to make amends, he doesn't recognize what he has done wrong, and therefore all his attempts are tainted in ill intent. Jerry does not give up after this shutout, though. While Lloyd is away from home one day, Jerry comes to his home and tries to become involved in his life through his wife, Andrea. While Andrea is welcoming and loving, Lloyd, once he finds out, is quite the opposite. Lloyd bursts into rage and accusation, trying to taint the way that Jerry's lover sees him. This leads to Jerry having a heart attack. From here on out in the film, Jerry's health rapidly declines. Jerry is no longer a fear-inducing and strong man, but feeble and vulnerable. At this moment, Lloyd has become the sole aggressor, and he is a relentless force until a certain conversation, or lack thereof, with Mr. Rogers. Throughout the film, Fred Rogers dissects what makes Lloyd Vogel the man that he is. From Lloyd's special toy to the death of his mother, he finds out everything about Lloyd there is to know. Fred Rogers loves people like Lloyd. Fred Rogers loves broken people. Eventually, we're taken to the moment that changes who Lloyd fundamentally is. Throughout the entire film, Lloyd has found reasons to justify the ways he's dealt with his anger, and who he is as a person. That's when we're brought to the silence. During a conversation in a diner, Fred takes a moment to ask Lloyd to appreciate those in his life. My words can't do this scene justice, though, so I'll let the scene speak for itself.
Would you do something with me, Lloyd? It's an exercise I like to do sometimes. We'll just take a minute and think about all the people who loved us into being.
I can't do that.
They will come to you. Just 1 minute of silence. Thank you for doing that with me. I feel so much better.
In this scene, the writers not only showed a shift in the way that Lloyd approaches life, causing him to appreciate those who have negatively affected him, but it also acts as a call to action towards the audience. Me and you.
Hey guys, sorry the microphone cut out, but that's why I believe A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood is possibly one of the best feel-good films out there. No, it's not a cheesy early 2000s comfort film, but it makes you feel better about life. From here on out in the film, we see a new version of Lloyd, one who can forgive his father and have moments like this.
It's not fair, you know? I think I'm just now starting to figure out how to live my life. I always loved you.
I love you too, Dad.
And one who can become a loving father and husband in moments like this.
When I'm scared, which I was in the hospital, and I have been for a long time, I get really angry. And I know it's a way of saying I can't deal with this. Get away from me, but that's not what I want. It's actually the opposite of what I want. You and Gavin. You're what I want.
Through the growth of the character Lloyd, we grow as well. The writing, the cinematography, editing, all of it. It makes you want to be a better person, without making you feel guilty for being the person you already are. The film leaves you feeling more appreciative for your life and those around you, not only in the way they act, but in the way they affect your life, no matter how good or bad that effect has been. The film brings peace to things that most would not consider peaceful, and it makes you feel good. It makes you feel good. Thank you for watching, and yeah. I don't know what I was doing this last part. What I was doing with my hand. Man, I thought it was so sophisticated. Like I'm about to say, indubitably. But anyways, like and subscribe if you'd like. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.